Hey, what's up? It's me, doing a little intro. So yeah, me again. I don't usually do intros when it's just me, but the audio in this one is not to my liking. I don't really know what to do with it though, because I think it's just my mixer I need to clean, which means I have to go and buy fucking cleaning supplies, which are, I think I know where to find them all, but whatever. And for some reason, like the levels aren't equal. Like my right side's a little lower than my left. I don't know. So hopefully, it's weird too. I'm wearing headphones. I can't like hear it at all, but like when I was listening back, I hear a lot like this little static, which I think is from the mixer. I think it's just like static feedback from the mixer. So if I can go in there and I clean out all the stuff, it shouldn't be in the world. I was gonna do it a while ago, and I just didn't do it. So I think this is why. And if it turns out that this persists, I might take a week to really figure it out. Like if it isn't that problem, then I have to like go in further. So if there's 1 week skipped from here, that's why. I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Cause it's like that. It's like for me, it's super annoying, but like I don't know, maybe not to everyone, but I hate it. So I'm trying to figure and solve that. But otherwise, had a good time. Talked a lot about the stuff that I usually do. So enjoy.
This is your brain, and this
is your brain on Tom.
What's up? It's Tom. How's it going? Your brain on Tom. Here you are. Yeah. A little longer than I usually would like to do these things, but I did a little film shoot in the middle of the week, or early-ish. It was Tuesday. So pushed everything I had to do like a couple days back because I took Wednesday to also focus on like editing a thing for them and all that kind of stuff. So a little bit later, a little bit busy of a week, but we're we in this house. Well, I'm always here, but just hanging, doing things. Watching all sorts of different stuff, playing the video games, but actually I think what I just did last night, and I was almost going to record last night, but we kind of went to a later showing of it. I saw the Teen Titans Go movie with Ben. It was it's way fun. It's let me put it this way: did the movie need to exist? No. Does the movie like go anywhere? No. Is it make me fucking laugh? Hell yeah. Oh my god, it's so funny. Some of the smaller things too, like playing with this pen. They had like the city that the whole thing. Well, it takes place a lot in Hollywood, but like in the beginning, it's the city that the Teen Titans hang out in. Jump City or whatever. I don't know. Is that even a real city in the DC universe? I actually don't even know. I'm not gonna look it up. What was I saying? Oh yeah, but like all the signs in that were so fucking funny. They were all like little puns to like different superheroes and characters in DC universe. Are just fucking killing me. And then like it's just really fun. I don't know who the movie's for, because it like there's a whole section that just references 80s movies. It's like a Back to the Future thing, and then fucking the old like Superman movie and stuff. Like this huge like weird sequence that's like, I think this is for people that have seen these movies, but like the crowd we were in, it was literally babies. Like that was actually the crowd. There was it was like this little kid that sat in the row in front of us, and I say sat liberally because really all she did was run around up and down the row just shrieking because she didn't give a fuck. Like, and then like before it started, when the lights were still on, a woman came with a baby carriage. Ben's like, "Who brings a baby to Teen Titans Go?" And then it was clearly very obvious after the movie had started. It's like, oh, okay, the whole crowd is babies. Everyone's just shrieking and running around. But it was weird too because it's normally, if I was in a situation where I'd be like, and that happened, I'd be like, oh my god, I'm gonna kill everyone right now. Like this, I'm so angry. Like I cannot fucking believe someone would just bring a child into a movie theater just to scream, and like they cannot control their kid. But it's Teen Titans Go. Who gives a fuck? Like it was, if the child was there screaming or not, it would not affect my viewing experience. Like literally nothing happens in the movie. I don't like. They try to end it with like a message, and then like, all the characters like, no, just end it. Credits. And they start chanting credits. It's like, so it's like absolutely no purpose for this movie to exist. It just does. And then the whole reason I actually saw it last night, because I was like, I mentioned something on this show. I think it was on this show. It was just to people I'm around, but the trailer for the movie is very funny. And it's really just the beginning of the movie. A lot of the jokes, like we were worried, Ben and I were worried on the way in that we're like, oh, I think it's going to be all the funny bits were in the trailer, but really it's only like the first like maybe 5-10 minutes. Just like they get through all the stuff that you saw in the trailer, and then they cut to the newer stuff and all that kind of stuff. There's a part in the middle, like right after this like 80s movie reference marathon that they do. It was kind of bland where they were like, oh, we'll actually kind of go through the arc of the characters to make it kind of seem like a movie, but I'd rather it be just like 5 episodes combined together to make some stupid general plot. And there's some of the it was ridiculous. The voice cast was fun. Fucking having Nick Cage as Superman. I just watched the documentary about that, or the documentary about the movie where he was going to be Superman. Superman Lives. And I'm familiar with it like tangentially because like I'm a follower of Kevin Smith, part of the Church of Kevin Smith, and of course Kevin Smith talks about the same 12 things in his life over and over again. So I'm very familiar with the story of like how they came to be with or like how he was brought on to write the movie and then got fired when like Tim Burton came on. He brought his guy on and that got rewritten and all that stuff. So I was like sort of familiar with like the Kevin Smith half of it, and so the movie goes into all 3 writers that they had, and he talks to each one throughout their process. Interviews with Tim Burton, all 3, whatever. It's pretty cool. And the producer guy, John Peters, I think his name is. So like that guy who like ran the Warner Brothers, I guess. Was it Warner Brothers? I think. I can't remember. But his role and decisions that were made, because weirder decisions were made, like I guess early on. Like Kevin Smith has talked about, the 3 things he had to put in, and it was what were the 3? It was no flying, no cape, and a giant spider at the end of the 3rd act or something like that. I think that's the 3rd one's. The 3rd act is definitely a giant spider. In the first 2, I think that's what I think it was. It's either no cape or not that stupid costume. I can't remember which one it was, but and he wasn't supposed to fly, which is kind of a cool thing. When they started talking about like how they were gonna like trying to like work that in, they were like, well, the old Fleischer cartoons had him just jumping, like he wasn't really like flying. Because like the guy was like, it looks super fake, and like I guess in 80s technology too, it would look kind of fake. If you watch those old Christopher Reeve ones, it does look kind of weird, and it's just there's something fascinating about like production documentaries. Like Jodorowsky's Dune is fucking amazing. I think it's the last recorded interview with H.R. Giger, I think, or maybe that's the Giger documentary. He had like 2 documentaries come out like really really close together. I can't remember which one was in which order, but I think it's Jodorowsky's Dune is the last one. And it's just about this guy, Jodorowsky, Alejandro Jodorowsky. I think that's his full name. And he's like if you're not familiar with him as a director, he's like kind of wild, like just like visually and conceptually. He does like very. He's what you would assume like an artist is, and then he makes these movies like about these things, and so like he's got these very wild imagination of like how things should play out, and it's always very fascinating to see like how this stuff play together. But this movie would have been amazing, and I think it was before Star Wars, so there's a part in that where they're like, if this movie had come out the way it was looking like it was going to, this was going to be what Star Wars was. Like Dune would be Star Wars. Like it would be crazy because like it seemed like it was pretty close, like at least like concept, like it hit the beats properly, but it was like almost so wildly different that you could kind of consider them separate entities. I'm trying to think of an example of like when this would happen, and it actually did happen, where there's like 2 things and they're both good, but there's like the adaptation is like so widely different that's like kind of its own thing. I'm trying to think of an example. I guess kind of Fight Club is a way, but like even the authors, like the movie's better. I can't remember exactly. I guess that's the closest example. It's just like, oh, well, this movie did this thing. It's like slightly different, and it's just better. Or it's just like this hits the thing. Like this is the medium it should have been in more or whatever. But I really do wish someone would like animate Jodorowsky's Dune, because there's like so much. It's like so close to being done. Besides like actually hitting go on the camera and like just actually recording it, like it's almost done. Like all the conceptual. Same thing with the Superman movie. There's so much of it that's like done. Apparently though, that was going because it had so many script rewrites. We probably couldn't get like a reenactment or something, because there's a 3 completely different versions. Not completely different. I guess it still has like similar beats, but there's like 3 different versions of this movie that you'd have to like figure out, and like the movie went through so many different changes. And I guess between Kevin Smith and I cannot remember the name of the second guy, but between their scripts, it became a totally different movie. But they kept aspects of like almost like they hired Kevin Smith just to make sure it had like superhero-y things in it. Understanding he was like a fan, So like, hey, come up with concepts and names of things and kind of beats for characters to show up and make sure that they're all in here, and then we're going to take it over and make it a little bit more like a wilder Tim Burton like movie. But so maybe, I don't know, that second script seemed like, I don't know if the third one, like, they didn't really get into the third one as much as they did the second one, the first and second one. So I wonder if the third one was like ever like finalized. They kept saying that they were like ready to shoot, but then other people were like, we had no fucking clue what we were doing. We were just kind of working and things were just happening. So I don't know. I'm not sure how actual far they were, but it would be kind of neat to find out. Like if we could get some of these like unfinished movies kind of remade. It'd be kind of awesome. I don't know. Yeah, I watched it because like I was the guy who had made it just passed away like last week, something like that. He like real recently, and I've always wanted to watch it. And I'm like, fuck, I should probably just put this on, see if I can like whatever. So, but it's really good. I think you have to rent it off their website. I don't know if it's anywhere else. I couldn't find it. But it's really, really good. Like a really cool documentary on this really cool little thing. Jodorowsky's Dune should be anywhere. I forget where I watched it. I don't remember. I think it was on Amazon. I don't remember though. It was like a couple years ago. But that movie's awesome too. Oh my god, it is so good. That one was like literally like Jodorowsky has like this binder book thing with like all the concept art, all of like almost, it's basically almost like a storyboard, like just of all the stuff like put together. We know what all it is, and he had like Moebius do a bunch of artwork for stuff. He worked with him a lot too. He's got the Inkle, I think is the name of the comic. I think I might be wrong. I think it's Inkle. I think the Inkle is the name of the comic, and it's basically blanking. Oh, it's their comic, or Moebius and Jodorowsky worked together on that. And there's like a whole Jodorowsky universe of like comics. I forgot what the other ones are called. But he's got like a bunch of different comics he wrote, and then their artwork with that, and then he had artists hired to do like the different houses, and like their architecture and like interior design. Like they designed everything of that, like because everyone's a different planet, which is kind of a cool concept. You don't really see that often. Where like you see a lot of sci-fi things you run into. Planets might look a little differently, but like everything technology and furniture wise might be kind of similar across. And like it was like H.R. Giger was all of Harkonnen, and like I can't remember, I think Moebius did all of Atreides, I don't remember. But like yeah, they all had like their own like little piece where it's like, well this movie takes place here, this artist is going to be the director of the art team for this planet, and we're going to go to this artist to do this team, this guy. And like it was really cool. It was a really cool idea. Yeah, that movie, I should watch that again. Jodorowsky's Dune is really fascinating, because like they have like really long form interviews with Jodorowsky, and just listening to that man speak is so fascinating. He's so interesting. He's such a like interesting and fascinating dude to like just pay attention to and just be like, what is this guy thinking? What is going on in his head? Like what is going like? It's and like watching him like explain decisions he's making. You're like, no, that would like to see, like even as someone who has enjoyed the book of Dune. And, would like to see a proper adaptation. I almost, like, because, what the hell is his name? The guy who did, Blade Runner 2049, Arrival. Oh my god, it's right there. Villeneuve. Denis Villeneuve. He's doing the Dune movie. And he's going to do the first half of the book, the first movie. And, like, I want to see that, but I'd much rather see Jodorowsky's version. It was so it was so colorful and, like, weirdly different, and, I think it'd be interesting too, just to like, everyone has like an idea in their head, like a spaceship should look like, and what space travel should seem like, and what a certain space outfit should look like, and buildings should look like, and so it'll be what we assume will be Villeneuve's version, but I like Jodorowsky's version is so different and unique that I'd actually rather see that. Because, like, they have, like, it might be the poster. There's, like, this spice carrier or whatever it was. And it is, it's, like, blown up and there's spice falling out of it into space. And that ship is so beautiful. It's so pretty. It's, like, got, like, tiger stripes, all these different colors, and this big, really cool, like, skull design on it and stuff. It looks fantastic. It's similar in the idea of, this Superman Lives movie, where there's a lot of like, because it's about a lot of people, really Kevin Smith's the only one who understood and loved Superman as Superman. Nick Cage as well. It's funny because I have footage of Nick Cage, Tim Burton working on the costume, and like Nick Cage kind of making fun of the concept of Superman, like cape and Clark Kent and all that stuff. So I'm wondering if this movie sparked an interest in it, because I know he's a huge fan now because his son's name is Kal-El. He's actually in Teen Titans Go as young Batman, which is pretty funny. But yeah, like he's a super fan now. He's a big fan of it. So I'm wondering if that like sparked the interest. I actually don't know the timeline of that, but what was I saying? That's what it was. It was unique looks onto things, because like with everyone on the Superman Lives thing, like they had like this idea of him coming to Earth with this little like robot thing that is his companion, and working on like the suit thing. Like he dies and the suit like keeps him together and like tries to recover him, so his suit for a little while looks, or the little robot becomes a suit and it looks all like organic and has these like cool lights going through it, and like all these different visual things. And like maybe that's just concept art, and so it's just like, oh, concept art way more fascinating because I kind of fill in the blanks I would look in action than it would in reality. So I'm not sure that would have ultimately played out, but it was very fascinating to like just kind of watch this whole thing unravel in that way, and just kind of see what could have been. I don't know. Some of these like more weird things that get canceled, I think I would rather see. I think in most cases, I think it's, I don't know. I think kind of just being able to see like what this could be, what it could, whatever. I think it's an interesting idea. Because like that's, Jodorowsky's Dune sounds like such an interesting idea, but Teen Titans Go, it's a long tangent into something completely different. A fun time, goofy, silly time, but it's a lot of fun just to kind of see these fucking weird little things just go off, and like it's a big like make fun of everything. And like I had a weird superhero parody idea that I should probably develop further, because this is a little bit more wide in like range of superheroes. Like this is just making fun of like Western blockbuster superhero movies. I had like a weirder idea with it, but I'm not going to go into it because it's not really developed. I had like character concepts, and as we all know, I don't do things. What else? Did I see anything else? Oh, I guess this could be the podcast on a podcast. Tom's Toku Talks. Toku Time? I don't know. Name subject to change. Yeah, I watched a bunch of Kamen Rider Amazon, it's Amazon Riders. Amazon's the old one, so Amazon Riders is the new one that's on Amazon Prime. And fuck, it's dope. It's a really slow opening. It's like a slow build of just like where these the powers, and they really take their time, especially in the first episode. The first like 2 are like 40 minutes, and then they like are more consistently 30, 20, somewhere in that range, or 28, something like they go back to like standard TV, but the first 2 are like slower or longer, and they're really setting up this like universe of aliens, or not aliens, they're like genetically altered humans, and there's this team that tries to hunt them down and blah 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 and all that kind of stuff. And we really don't even meet our protagonist till like maybe after the first battle. There's like a first fight that happens, and then we jump to like we start meeting our protagonists and different characters, and holy shit, it's so cool. It's so cool. Like I would finish an episode and be like, fuck, I'm going to the next one. Like I think I'm about halfway through the first season. I don't think the second season's on Amazon, there's a fan translation of the second one because it was bought by Amazon. It's not like, even though it's weirdly like Amazon, like the concept of it, it was purchased later. They're the official North American release, but that went on, I think it was an Olive Web show originally. Because I know the original Amazon was pulled from TV in Japan for being too violent, and this one definitely enjoys being violent. People tearing hearts out of other people and stuff. It's pretty cool. It's weird watching it, though, and seeing, like, violence like that happen. It's strange. Although I've seen clips of the original show, and there's a part where the main writer like slashes down on a monster's face, and he breaks off like a horn thing, and it just spews blood. So like it's interesting that they kind of kept to that. I think it was always, but I do think it was always like on. Actually, it may have been on Japanese TV after it was a web show first. But the one Kamen Rider website I've been looking at to like keep track of like series and stuff. It's like a breakdown like how to watch and where to watch certain seasons and stuff. labels it as a web show, so I think it was always a web show, but it's now been purchased by Amazon, so the first season's with them. And it does take its time to build up to it, but once we get both writers, there's two. It's two protagonist writers, or I don't know if they're both protagonists. There's one guy who's definitely like the good guy, the young kid who gets his powers. And there's a second guy who's like, he's full aware of what's going on. He understands what he's got. He knows what he's got to do, and he like has this like there's all the Kamen Riders have like a little, not all of them, but like they usually have like some kind of distinctive belt. And lately they have like little rev bars on them, and that's kind of how like these guys get to, like turn on their powers. They like put this belt on because like you're basically like a monster that's like been genetically like your human cells are injected with like monster cells, and then those cells try to eat your human cells, take over the human body, and then all you want to do is eat humans. So that's like the concept of the whole thing. And you have like there's these like bracelet things you wear on your arm that inject little medicine into you to repress that, but those only last for 2 years. So when those wear off, that's when the extinction team that we met in the first part of the first episode comes in, and they clean up the monster, defeat them, and then they every bracelet they turn in gets them money. So that's like their job. And then with the two main riders, they have belts that like let them like refine that power into being like totally sentient, not feral, fighting like creatures that can fight. Because when the main character first turns, he's like super feral, and then when he gets his belt, he like looks far more like his armor, like chain or the suit that he's in, which is still I guess armor, but like it'd be in this one it's not like an actual suit. You physically turn into this creature. It looks more like a Kamen Rider suit than it did like a Toku monster, for example. And it's fucking dope. The one guy, yeah, he's like super. He's actually the main, not the guy who knows what he's doing. Jin, like he understands. He's like, I'm gonna destroy all of these. Like I'm just gonna be single-handedly the reason all these die. He is Alpha. Yeah, he's Amazon Alpha, and then the other one's Amazon Omega, and his like suit is like all like scarred because he's been doing this for years. He just goes around. They always eat protein. Like he's always shown like eating eggs, like because that's like a way to like kind of hold back on your like urges to murder other humans, because you can't like stop it, but you can kind of control it with like the medicine. But the medicine is running out, so there's been like an increase of monsters showing up, and then I guess if you just eat protein, you can just control it to some extent. And then yeah, Jin has like a little girlfriend it's his girlfriend. She like helps him out, and she drives like, this little truck for them and stuff like that. And then I can't remember the name of the main kid, but he's like been held in captivity, being kind of like he's like held in a house. They're kind of watching him. I think they were trying to like figure out what the fuck's going on. Because he's like a special case, so like he's another one that kind of isn't like fully lost, but if he takes this medicine all day, he should be able to keep it all under control. And then when he first turns, he does become. I love that he has like the two different suits. I think it's super cool. The one that's like super feral and all violent. It's kind of funny too, because like they're like monsters that like eat people, but a lot of them do still have like regular tokusatsu helmets. So like they don't have like the lip, like the molded lips or anything. So just like a plate, piece of metal. Or they chew away at people and stuff. It's very weird, but I do enjoy it. Watching them, like, you see a guy just, like, move his head side to side on another guy in a rubber suit, and, like, he's got no way of actually eating someone. There was a really dope episode where they, like, go to find this woman, because, like, now that they're, like, becoming the monsters, whatever, people will, like the one woman, she was, like, living in an apartment building, and she was calling in repair people and then eating them. And then the extinction team goes to that apartment. She ends up being an ant. Everyone in the apartment is like a lesser ant, and they like the whole building was overrun. They're all fighting, and the extinction team has a guy who can turn and back and forth, but he's terrible. So then they have this new kid, the main character kid, kind of come in. It's just really cool how like the foils of the main character kid, and then the other protagonist kind of guy. I don't think he's the bad guy. I couldn't imagine, but how they both have the same goal, kind of, but different like ways of handling it and stuff. The Alpha Omega thing's really cool. Both their suits are dope. Oh, it's so good. It's so fantastic. It's so fun to watch. It's cool. I'm a big fan. I recommend Amazon Riders on Amazon Prime is good stuff. Good fun. Just, oh, what a time. What else? Watching a little more Power Rangers. Been slacking, but boy, is In Space good. What a time. There's just so much good stuff that goes on in Space. It's so fantastic. Can't get enough. It's surprisingly good. Because, like, it really shouldn't be. Because, like, the way the writers were, like, set up and given stuff, like, the season after this, Lost Galaxy, is apparently a nightmare to write for because it's a nature-based show that they set in space because In Space did so well. So, like, a lot of the fight scenes are taking place in the grass somewhere in a jungle, but the series is supposed to take place in space, so it's like, what do we do? How does this work? Why is it like this? So, like, it causes problems. So, for them to actually manage to nail it is so surprising to me, because, like, the writers do not have an easy job. It is not an easy thing to pull off. So I'm always blown away that it's like, oh wow, this is working. And like they bring in old aspects, like the one episode I just watched, there's a bunch of Protrons on this planet, like they're still a unit to this army. It's not just the foot soldier for the last season, it's just they're the foot soldiers of like this organization. And the Quantrons are just an upgraded version of that take care of, one thing. They work for one person and do this other thing. Like it's fascinatingly well done. So well done. Everything just works. There's so many cool characters. The one character, Darkonda, having multiple lives, I think I really like a main villain having multiple lives. I think it's a very cool thing. I don't know why I like it so much, but I really think it's a really, really cool touch. Of like, oh, we can get rid of him, but he's still going to be there and still kind of be a threat, but he's a little bit less of a threat because like he can be kind of insane right away, but as you take away lives, he's got to like dial that shit back. And I kind of find that fascinating. I really do like that a lot. Where it's like, oh, fuck, all right, so this guy can be, like, really crazy because he's got his 7 or whatever. I forgot what he had. 7 or something? 8? Maybe it was 9. I don't even remember. And then as he's losing them, he's got to, like, kind of change. He can't be as brash. He's got to kind of be more contained. He might use more henchmen or something. I think it's a really cool thing to play with, and I don't see it often in media. I think it's kind of a cool idea. But, boy, it's amazing. It's amazing that it's not dog shit. It's amazing. I'm like, it's amazing that it's not dog shit and it's actually good. Like, it really rewards you for having watched a bunch of seasons leading up to this. Like, what an ending. Just, oof. And I'm still not at the last 2 episodes, but that last 2-parter is apparently amazing. Like, still some of the best episodes of this entire franchise. I actually just saw a thing on Instagram the other day, and it was, all the Kamen Riders meeting up all the Sentai. Like, and it's for Beast. What we'll have as Beast Morphers are it's Go-Busters in Japanese, but it's that series, which is the next Power Rangers one. And unfortunately, we're probably never going to see that episode play out. I think it might be a movie, but still, we'll never see it because Kamen Rider never took off over here. So like all these Kamen Riders that show up make no sense to like an American audience. So you can't have. I mean, maybe you could work around it in some way, but like it's like. I don't know if it would work out. I don't know if it would play out as well. So that really sucks. I wish it would, because it's really cool. Like, I forget how it was worded, but it's like you should never, it was something to the effect of like you should never underestimate the riders, and you should never underestimate Sentai either. And then all of a sudden, every single one for all time ever comes out of like these portals, and there's this huge fucking army of everyone. It looks so cool, but it's unfortunate. I don't think we're ever gonna see that like play out. Because also it's weird too, because both of them having run since the 70s, it doesn't like it really wouldn't make sense for a lot of these to like be, because they'll be Rangers and Riders that an American audience never seen. We have no like parallel to them. Some of the series are so old. I actually found out too that the I want to watch and double check this, but I was reading this and it seemed weird because really all of Sentai or Tokusatsu is like, it comes from one guy who wrote this Kamen Rider, who made Kamen Rider, and he made Super Sentai, and then Super Sentai stopped because it wasn't doing so well after like the 3rd or 4th season. They went and did a Spider-Man one, which I think people have seen GIFs of. It's very ridiculous, it's very fun, but that's why Super Sentai has giant robots is because of the Spider-Man series, apparently. I want to double check this. A lot of these are weirdly easy to find once you kind of like go out of your way and find them. they're not like super hidden, and there's like a small, very dedicated community for tokus that just want to make sure that people can find this shit. But yeah, there's like a weird, there's like this weird fucking the reason we have giant robots in like Power Rangers, for example, is because of this Spider-Man tokusatsu that was made in the 70s, which is a weird thing but fascinating. Because every once in a while I'll like put on the old Ultraman, because I found the whole first season on or the original season, I guess it's only the one season, on YouTube. It's just all the English dub of it, but it's weirdly accurate. I think I've talked about this before on the show. So I'll occasionally just like put something like that on, just watch the thing for it, just be like, oh, this is fun, and to watch where like this genre really started getting its footing. Man becomes superhero, saves day against giant monster or whatever, or against monster, depending on whatever franchise it is. Like, oh, this is a very interesting thing to watch play out. And so now to find that the Spider-Man one is possibly, if not as much, maybe just a little less important to like where this franchise, the series or the genre went, is so fascinating to me. It's so fascinating that it's this Spider-Man thing that's like, oh, this is why the tropes you think of this genre there's a lot of them that have their roots in Spider-Man of all things, which is weird. But I might see if I can find that and watch that, because that would be fucking delightful. Oh, what a lovely genre. I love it so much. And I'm really enjoying Kamen Rider Amazon Riders. I don't know why I keep saying that backwards. So I'm thinking about looking into more Kamen Rider. I might start from the first one and just kind of go up, because apparently I was reading something like this guy's blog of like, here's how you get into Kamen Rider, blah blah blah, because it has no real American parallel, so it's like you probably obviously didn't grow up with this. I mean, you had, what the hell did we call it? Masked Rider, which is Kamen Rider or Black RX. So like, we got this kind of a series that footing. They had another Kamen Rider that came out in America too, but I can't remember what that one was. So like, there's no real American foothold in this, but if you want to get into it, you might want to try it. Start with the first one from 71. So start there. There's a manga too that I think the manga's written by the same guy, but I think it takes a different path than the show does. But the show and the manga kind of tell the same story. But here's the show. Watch this. This kind of gets you a grounding of like kind of the tropes and the idea of where a lot of this comes from, and then you can kind of pick and choose from there. So that's what I might start doing. Because I was actually just going through my Twitter feed the other day, just like going down like, what have I posted? And there's so many fucking dope GIFs from Wizard. I'm really thinking I might just watch Kamen Rider Wizard like really soon, because it looks so cool. But first I want to finish Amazon, because it's really good too. But the fight choreography in Wizard is dope. Also really funny. There's some really funny moments in there. Like there's one clip I tweeted. It's him in the shower in his suit. Like doing that like sad shower scene, but in a large spandex suit with a plastic helmet on. It's very silly looking, and I really enjoy it. And like it's that kind of charm that is just wonderful about Toku. It's so fun. Good lord. Shout out to that. I love it so much. But Wizard looks really fun. It's delightful. And the new one, the build, Kamen Rider build, the main suit that you see with that looks dope, and then there's like, I think they all got new suits, which look less dope. But the one that's like red-blue split looks really fucking sick. I really like that one a lot. I guess I'll move on from this. That is your weekly, I don't know, necessarily confirm a weekly Toku talk. I like Toku talk more. Kind of came with that. I like that one. We'll go with that. Name pending. What else have I done? Oh, I recently restarted reading Invincible, the comic. So I read a bunch of it, like, I want to say 3 years ago. On like my computer. I'd like download a bunch of them. I was probably like 20 when I started that. That sounds about right. 19, somewhere in there. So it's been a few years since I really read this. I was like, I forget how old I was. We were like on a vacation. And I remember just having my laptop on me, and like I had them all on my laptop. And I just read them during this vacation. So I read for maybe like a couple hours. And I got to like, because like it follows like Mark's like life basically from his senior year on. So he goes to college and he does all this other stuff. And so I had gotten through the college stuff. He was like doing college stuff, and Adam Eve was in Africa, and stuff was going there. There's like this moment that like it ended on like a big emotional moment between the characters. I can't remember exactly what happened. Someone kissed someone. I don't remember. And then I kind of just stopped. I don't know why. I didn't even dislike it. It was just kind of like a hassle to get my hands on it, and it was just like, yeah, whatever. And then I went to Comic-Con, I don't know, a couple years ago, New York Comic-Con, and Image had this huge booth. And I was like, oh shit, look, the compendiums 1 and 2 for Invincible. I'll pick those up. So I bought those. And then just never got around to them again. And then this year, early this year, late last year, something like that, it was, wrapping up. Invincible was finishing up. I think it just finished like a couple months ago. And so I was like, oh, you know what? I'll wait for Compendium 3 to come out. And so Compendium 3 like just came out. I didn't get it yet, but I'm so far behind. I'm like restarting, so I'll just give it a moment before I pick it up. But now that it's out and it's available, I was like, oh, I'll start reading this again. And fuck, is it good? It is so fantastic. It's just so cool. It's like weird. It's weirdly like I don't know. It's just like a real like I don't know where I want to put this. Like it's all like wrapped together of like all superhero aspects. Guy from space and a parent relationship in some way, playing into the motivations of the superhero and other superheroes showing up, and there are like, and it's there's a lot of like there's other characters in this series that are like have other franchise parallels, like there's a Batman analog and a Wonder Woman analog or whatever, whatever, and they all have like different connections to different things like that, and just watching it all kind of play together, and it's almost like Robert Kirkman like threw a character into the DC universe and then just tore it all up. Like a lot of these characters end up dying and things are happening, and that's the other thing too. It's just like there's hard death. People just get heads cut off and like people blown apart and stuff like that. So it's got a lot of like really unique, interesting things. Like it's fascinating. It's like you took the DC universe and you threw it into the Image universe that they had in like the 90s, which this does take place in. Fucking Savage Dragon shows up all the time, which I found out like a couple years ago watching the Image documentary. Robert Kirkman loves like Savage Dragon and all of that. He loves that like that aspect of it. He wasn't like a Spawn kid or like Witchblade or something. He was like really into Savage Dragon, like Eric Larson, is that writer's name? I think that's what it is. If I got that wrong, I'm sorry. Like his work and all that stuff. So like he's like I keep noticing it now, being a little bit more familiar with like Robert Kirkman the person, and like his inspiration and stuff, and seeing how like things that he likes within Image Comics keep playing into the early parts of Invincible. And I think it's cool too that like his suit is like the Image eye logo, kind of like this is our Superman, this is our Spider-Man, it's our poster child superhero for this brand. I kind of think it's kind of cool, and I do enjoy. I mean, it's less so now, but like Image kind of back in the day having like one big universe where Youngbloods and Spawn and Savage Dragon and whatever, they all kind of played together. It was like if you read like the first issue of Spawn, they talk about if someone sees Spawn, they're like, is he one of the Youngbloods or something? Or they have like a nickname for it. It's interesting. And Savage Dragon plays in things like that. And like, there's a part I was just reading through, and like they went to Chicago, and like Savage Dragon comes up because that's where he hangs out, is in Chicago and stuff like that. I think it's kind of cool. I wonder if they ever go to New York. It's like Spawn would play. Does Spawn in New York? I think he's in New York. Am I wrong? I'm pretty sure he's in New York. Or a New York parallel. I don't know if it's ever said. I had to spend a whole little hot minute since I read Spawn. So I was in the middle of reading it, and I stopped, and I should get back to it. It's just kind of like weirdly hard to get. There's no like big compendium of like all Spawn, because like Todd McFarlane's very much like, just read the newest one, don't bother. So it's never really had like a push to like. There's been a couple, but there's not a ton of them that are super available. And like some of the good ones that have like big collections that are small amounts of book. There's like a ton. There are not many of them around still because people keep them. So it's kind of hard to find different stuff like that, but Invincible's so good. It's so good. It's like, and like I'm familiar with where it's going because I've read this before, so stuff starts happening. Oh right, that happens here, and oh right, this character ends up doing this later. So to like kind of like watch that happen, but then also like, to re-experience that. I'm like, fuck, these are some really good twists. Like, I know it's coming, and I'm like building up to them, and I was like, oh shit, that's a really good twist. And oh fuck, this character did this thing. All right, yeah. Or like, I'll start reading something. Like one thing I was reading, one of the characters just kind of got like dissed in a way, and I'm like, I remember the character doing something horrible. I don't remember what it was, but I remember something happening. I think this is the moment where it starts to happen. I think this is what is going on. Like, it's trying to like remap it out in my head because it's been so long that I remember like, this character is a bad guy, but I don't remember how they got there, or like this character is a massive piece of a bigger thing that's happening, but I don't remember how they came into that piece. So watching it all kind of play out like in like real time as like, oh right, this is happening, this character is this, and da-da-da. And that's always fascinating. I always find that very fun to kind of like get through all that stuff. Like kind of re-experience something, but like so far away from that thing that you don't really remember where it went. So like, it's pretty cool. Invincible is very well done. Highly recommend. So anything else? I guess I read a bunch of manga recently too, I guess. Catching up on My Hero Academia. It's always really good. Always really good. People are like really upset with this current like arc that's kind of going on, but not really upset. There's a couple people who are really upset that the one character's father, who's really abusive, is like maybe getting a redemption arc, but it does not seem like it's playing that way out at all. He's like almost getting like a full comeuppance of like him being a shit father for years, to the point where he's even got like, he's starting to look like one of the characters. It's interesting. I think it's going to play out way better. I think people are jumping the gun, but I'm enjoying it. What else? I guess I'll just kind of wrap up here. We'll do it quick. We'll do a small one. I don't want to go crazy. Not over an hour. I started playing. Well, I guess you know what. Let's do this too. Let's do two things. Video games. The section. Quickly. WoW's pre-patch drop for Battle for Azeroth. And so like it's gonna lead to the Horde burning down Tildrassil, which is the Night Elf starting zone, capital city, world tree, etc. All those, is that technically the world tree? Or is that on Hyjal? I don't even know. And then the Alliance's retaliation and taking back of Undercity. So, because like what it used to be was two races of each faction had a foothold in the other faction's like main continent. All of Kalimdor is Horde, except for Tildrassil and Amethyst Isles for like the Draenei. They landed there, and then the Night Elves have Tildrassil in a few areas over there, like the adjacent areas as well, Dark Shore, stuff like that for them, and Blood Mist Isles, Blood something Isles, I forget, that the Draenei have, and then Horde had it's actually the way the Horde have it. I liked because it was like Tristafall Glades and Silverpine Forest was like the undead, and then everything north of that was just like zombie land from like the Scourge just tearing that apart forever. So like Western Plaguelands, Eastern Plaguelands, Ghostlands, which is the second Blood Elf zone, and then Eversong Wood is like the one part that's like kind of kept together. There's still a giant scar of zombies that exist up there, but like that's like the one part that's green. Everything else is just like death. I always thought that was kind of like the reason the Alliance really didn't want to even take that is like that's all terrible up there. But they're going to take Undercity back, which is Lordaeron, the major. It's supposed to be the actual human capital or whatever, but I digress. So we'll see where that all goes because it hasn't happened yet. But we're starting to push for Teldrassil. It's going to start there first. I think it's next Tuesday. Yeah, I think it's the 31st. I think that's when the last half of that, where I think we do finally take Teldrassil. But boy, do I not agree with Sylvanas. I'm live or die Sylvanas. I love her. She's wonderful. She's my war chief. She's my little icon in my Battle.net account. But holy shit, I do not understand her plan at all. Why are you doing this? Like usually, until Thrall stepped down, which I still don't even agree with why he still stepped down. The man needs to come back, but whatever. He's just level-headed. We need a level-headed leader. He stepped down, and then fucking every leader after that, except for Vol'jin, I guess, but that, what that happened. He did. Every leader since then has been hella aggressive in some way or another, and like, let's just fucking, like, eliminate the Alliance, or do this horrible, and because like in Warlords of Draenor, I was like, I don't agree with anything that's happening. Not Warlords, Miss. Because because a lot of this conflict is our fault. Like, we're the ones instigating it. Most of the time, the Alliance are the dicks. Why are we being dicks? Let's just be calm. They're going to overact because they're all horrible racists, and they'll attack us. Like, let's not be proactive. Let's just be calm. We have, we have our places. We have a place we live. We love our, our thing. Fuck those guys. We'll deal with our problems. And they're going to come swinging, and we'll swing back harder. Like, that's what I've always thought would be like a better horde mentality. But with Garrosh and now Sylvanas, they're like, nope, fucking pull the trigger first. We shoot first. And I don't agree with that. Like, we're going, and, I'm part of this army. I have to go do it. Honestly, you have to. There's, like, no other option. If you're on the horde, you just go and attack, because that's your quest line. But, like, fuck, man. It's, like, dumb. I don't know why we're doing it. like you walk, like, this is a big, like, build-up of, like, you're meeting different people as they move the army from the Northern Barrens into Darkshore. And there's this huge thing where you're trying to, like, basically you're going to kill Malfurion, I think, at this point. I think he's dead, which is crazy. Why are we doing this? He's fine. So, like, there's, like, all this stuff we're fucking up. So, like, the whole, like right now, Darkshore is like this battlefield. It's just like this, everything's on fire. It's just war constantly. And all the world quests that you do are on Darkshore. Which is actually kind of cool, because Darkshore is really small. So it does really, like, there have been, like, I was playing today, and there was just a roaming band of Alliance, like maybe 8 of them, just running through, clearing out their world quests. And I think what they do, too, is I think, there was, like, 3 of mine today that were all, like, in the south part of Darkshore, which is kind of where the Horde are stationed, and the north part's where the Alliance are stationed. But there was one that was, like, in the middle, and I think both factions get one together that forces everyone together to interact. Because I have War Mode on, which is the new World PvP thing, because, of course, that's boring if you don't. Like, yeah, it sucks when you get murdered because you weren't paying attention or something, but it's fun to jump someone and, you jump into a band of raiders and go and kill a bunch of people or whatever. It's fun. It's fun to kind of get hit on and didn't hit other people. It's fun. But, like, yeah, it's just kind of cool. I think both factions had, like, the same world quest, so it forced us together. We're like, I think that's kind of a fascinating idea, where it's like, oh, okay, this is gonna push, funnel people in together and move stuff around and really create, like, an engagement, which I think is really fun. I don't know. It seems like it's gonna be a cool expansion, but it seems like it's gonna be our fault for a lot of the war part of it. The battle is our fault. I'd be curious if they actually, like, state one way or another that someone is the like a winner, but it really just seems like it's gonna be a big Naga expansion, and then maybe an elder god, or like an old god, because really the raid stuff and the dungeon stuff has to be like a neutral threat. It can't be like there's always a reason for both factions to partake in this content. You can't have it, and, like, sure, like with the Siege of Orgrimmar, they built that properly, where it was like, let's lead into why we're doing this. Vol'jin wants to, and it helped too, because Garrosh was a cunt, and everyone hated Garrosh. There's no one who agreed with Garrosh. So, like, it made sense that, like, when they were like, oh, Vol'jin's over here, and we're gonna destroy this. You're like, thank God, yes, let's fucking end this guy. He sucks. And, like, all that kind of stuff. But, yeah, I don't know. Should be fun. I'm excited for the expansion. It comes out in 2 weeks or so. And then finally, I've been playing Octopath Traveler. I think I talked about that last time. I don't remember. Boy, what a video game. Very fun. Some storylines. I've basically done the first, so there's the 8 characters, and they kind of, all their towns are like in a circle. Like I pretty much just walked in a circle and collected all 8 characters. So I picked the thief, and I went down to, like, the apothecary, and then the dancer, and the warrior, and the merchant, and I just went in this little circle. I picked up everyone. So I finally got everyone. Some character storylines significantly worse than others. I thought the thief one was cool. The warrior one's kind of interesting. But I played that one. The dancer one's amazing. But, like, the white mage is boring. Or cleric, she's called. She's really boring. And then, like, the scholar one, kind of boring. Not horrible, but, like, this isn't a pressing matter. Like, if this character wanted to wander for a long time, it really wouldn't matter. But someone like the hunter, it's like she needs to take care of her cause like immediately. So it's kind of cool. My one kind of complaint is the buildup of like collecting everyone. Those few starting zones really start to kind of like get samey and boring because like it basically I'm like 15 hours in, but I've only done starting zones, if that makes sense. It's like if I played WoW and all I was doing was like the first 1 to 10 zone. Like I would have no real gear and like, you know, my that drip feed of like upgrading and equipment and stuff like that and getting stronger is not as fast or strong because I've really been just doing starting zones. And there's like occasional like the cool thing is too is there's like 4 main interaction abilities. There's one where like the thief, he can steal stuff from people, but the merchant, she can buy that exact same stuff from someone. The apothecary can inquire, but the scholar can scrutinize and get the same amount of information. And I'm not sure if there's like a trade-off, because like the scrutinize has a chance of failing. Inquiry doesn't. Stealing has a chance of failure, but whatever. So they all have like a thing that does and doesn't. Like I think allure has a chance of failing, but guide doesn't. And I don't know why you would want to go with the one that fails necessarily. For like the thief versus merchant, that makes sense. I can get it for free, or I can get it for this amount of money. And like in some cases, like I was trying to steal something from a person, and like if you fail 5 times, you get like a negative. You fail 5 any interactions. So it could be you failed to allure someone, you failed to steal, and you failed to whatever, and enough times, and the town will stop talking to you. You have to go to the pub and you pay 2,500 gold, and then you can interact with people again. And so, in some cases, I go and I take the merchant up to a person. I'm like, all right, this item has a 15% chance of steal. Let me see how much it costs to purchase it. And she has like a chance to barter and like get it for less. But I believe you need to have that initial amount of money to like kind of initiate the purchase or like the interaction, the transaction, if you would. But I was like, all right, this thing is like, 5,500 or 55,000 or something. It was some crazy number. And I was like, all right, well, I don't really want to pay that much, so I'll just try to steal it. So, I steal, fail 5 times, got to go pay the guy 2,500, go, steal. Oh, I got on the fourth last try. This was now just cheaper to do it this way, stuff like that. So it's like kind of an interesting trade-off where it's like, you got the money, get it right away and move on. Maybe get it for cheaper too, even, or fuck it, get it for free. It's kind of cool, like we'll play with that, where it's like, oh, I can try to get this thing, but do I want to get this thing? This thing's 3%. Maybe I should wait a while. And that percentage just goes up when you talk to certain people. Like you can, like I scrutinized a guy because I've been using the scholar. I'm using the thief, the white mage, the scholar, and the warrior right now. Although I think the hunter might be one of the best characters. She has so many mechanics tied to her, but I just got her, so I really haven't she's like my newest party member, so I really haven't played around with her too much, but she's got amazing amounts of mechanics. She does so much. She can she's like a blue mage and a hunter, and just she has she's interesting. She can it's very fascinating. I'm very curious how good she is. There's probably some weird thing you can do with her, and she's amazing. Yeah, so I finished everyone's story and everything like that, and, playing around with everyone, trying to find, I have a main party, like I said, and I'm kind of using them because they kind of cover everything that I need to do, more or less. There doesn't seem to be a way, I thought for a second, I just found another, so when you get to the second circle, 1, changes the battle music, which is amazing. 2, those zones are way bigger. There's way more going on. There's a lot happening. The zone, that the little field I was standing in wasn't a path. It was a field. There was a ton of different things I could do, little caves I could tuck away into and stuff like that. Much different experience. So far that second section, that first 8 towns you go to is the tutorial, and then you broaden out to here's the real shit. So that was really cool to see this is way different. This is much more of a different experience. This is very cool. And I found a little cave that gave me the scholar job that I can now assign to anyone, which is cool. Unfortunately, it doesn't, I don't understand why it would, because I have all the characters, so I could just, put that character in if I needed them, unless there's I'm wondering if there's some late game thing where it's you really want to have 5 scholars, or 4 scholars, or 3 scholars and a white mage, or something like that. I'm not sure what it would be. I'm not sure if there's a weird thing you can do or whatever. Because I do enjoy having, what I thought it was going to be is you kind of made your own classes once you maxed out certain classes. So you would max out thief, you max out warrior, you put them together. Now they have like shared abilities, and like you can kind of make like the ultimate characters. And I thought that was what was going down, but it is just straight change them. It's cool. They change their outfit and they all look different when they're in the different jobs and stuff like that. It's very neat, but it's not as robust as I thought it was going to get. I think they do want you to constantly be switching out, because you can't do someone's story unless they're in that party. So, and then the world levels up with you, this is the first time I've played a game and I've enjoyed that concept, because when I go to a new area, so I go to an area, this is an area that's level 20, for example. So I go to this area, I'm in here, I'm doing all my stuff, and then I got to do this character storyline is not in my main party, so I switch to the main. We do a couple of battles. Now they're catching up because they're leveling up way faster, so because the XP growth is huge. So now they're getting a little more XP. They're going to catch up. Now they're kind of on par with this content, and we can move forward. So it's actually a nice way to do it. So your party member, your main party, usually what I do, because everyone has like they're parallel to their 4, I'll rotate one person out that covers someone's role there. So it's like, my healer is going to be the apothecary, or it's going to be the white mage. Either of them can switch out depending on who I need at that time. The dancer and the scholar both kind of are castery. I'll rotate them out if I need to. The warrior, the hunter, whatever. I'll rotate out someone who kind of fills that role in some way, or whatever I think I'm going to need at that time. And like that's kind of a cool thing. So it does kind of allow you to constantly rotate your party, change stuff up, because you can't switch your main character, the first one you pick, until you finish their story, which is 4 quests I found out. So every character's 4 quests, which makes sense because the world map doesn't seem that big. So yeah, if you get those 4 characters, or the 4 things, then you can finally rotate your full 4 out. But so far, I don't think I ever really want to get rid of the thief, because the merchant's terrible. I still don't understand like what her thing is. She's the one person who's wind magic. Oh wow. I don't think I care that deeply. But yeah, I'm about to start the second chapter of everyone. Just might level up a little bit, go on grind, get a little comfortable and stuff like that, and just kind of finish more of the content. But fantastic game. So well done. So worth it. Yeah, super, super good. Alright, I think I'll just wrap up there. I think I've done enough. Is there anything else? Twitter's Iraq. Email the show, yourbrainatown@gmail.com. Maybe have a guest next time, maybe. Figure it out. I've been kind of just feeling, let me sit down, just get this done, as opposed to like, let me try to set something up, and it's just easier to do this way. So, I don't know, we'll figure it out. See what's going on. I think that's it. I think so. I think I'm going to see Mamma Mia 2. So maybe I'll try to squeeze in Mamma Mia 1. I don't know. That'll be a weird one. But yeah, I think that's everything. I hope you had good times. Hope you enjoy your things that you like. Alright, love and kisses.